Ayo! Hello and welcome back, everybody! How are my lovely star dancers doing today? Ayo, ayo, ayo. I'm like testing my voice box. Ayo, ayo. After all, it is going to be time for us to do a little bit of reading today. As far as I know, the visual novel that we have planned today is in fact not voice acted, so expect to hear a lot of my very lovely voice for the duration of our time here. Ayo! Ow. Thank you for the egg, as always. Hehe. I hope you guys have been doing well. I've had a fairly mediocre day today. Kind of feel like I've just kind of like wasted my whole day. At the very least, I've got this going on, so this will be my highlight. Spending the time with you guys, that'll be nice. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep it light today. Take it kind of easy. I am like all but certain that the game that we have planned today is gonna bring in basically nobody, like outside the channel. I mean, so. It'll kind of just be us and the regulars for today, but it'll still be fun and it'll be nice. Ayo, Floofy Moofy, Floofy, Moofy, Moofy that is Floofy. Ayo. Alright, I'm gonna just... Okay. I wasn't sure if I had messages or something. I'm gonna... Audio's fine? Okay. Let's do this. I have no idea what to expect, really. All I saw was that God, you're loud! All I saw was that the game, was... You know, it's... Screw it. Welcome to... It Gets So Lonely Here. This is a little indie visual novel that, was recommended to me by Immortal Artisan. And I'm hoping she shows up to actually watch me stream it. But, hi, Bear. Long time no see. Missed you, buddy. What was I saying? Oh god, you knocked the brain cells out of me. I don't remember what I was saying. Yes, it was recommended by Immortal. All I know about it is that, it's... Yeah. Thank you as well, Floofy Moofy, for the 2 months. Are you subscribed to me on both accounts? Is that something that's going on? Yeah, you just straight up knocked my train of thought, like, off the rails. The whole thing is just like plummeting down a cliff, and now it's like skating across the ocean, except it has taken a dip and it hit an underground nuclear power plant that is in the middle of a meltdown, so there's just this gigantic cataclysmic explosion because it just so happens that the train was carrying a gigantic shipment of ceruleum from Final Fantasy, so everything just exploded. It's just, train of thought is like not even ashes, it's just disintegrated. Anyway, bonus points. All I know about this game is that it touches on some pretty gruesome topics, apparently. Although it's not very like explicitly gory or disturbing, I think. And it's got some eerie elements to it, which drew my attention. So this could be really nice. It could also be super cringe and terrible, in which case we'll just kind of amuse ourselves. Hopefully it won't be another coffee talk situation, but let's get into it. Ooh. I like this UI. You are running through a forest. It is late at night, and the sky is black as pitch. There is nothing to light your way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you. Not properly. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you are going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, however, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you are going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You are running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy with no destination in mind. You have no desire, as you run, save to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught. If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. You have no choice, therefore, but to keep going on and on and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You have no idea how long you've been running. Time has begun to blend together. It has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what has happened. Instead, you tug. Your skirt tears, the sound splitting through the forest, and you stumble forwards with a shocked gasp. You are free, but at what cost? Your skirt has been irrevocably damaged. It might be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. If you do not start running again, and soon she will catch you, then your life will be over. You do not know if she's still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. If you were to see her silhouetted beneath a tree, looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you, you would lose what little nerve you possess. Your legs would lock up and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then you would crumple. You would fall, but you would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you. Did she not promise when you made that contract that you would never be alone? You would like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it is too late for that. It is too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. You run and run and run while icy fog swirls about your feet. It is cold enough to sap the heat from your body, and you shudder from it. It feels as though you are drowning. It feels as though you are being buried alive. Your knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. You cannot endure much more of this. But if you value your own life, you must. You run and you run and you run until at long last you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself, though, not when you have put so much effort into running forwards. You can only press on. I have your full attention, Moopy. Why might that be, I wonder? The 3 paths are signposted, which is something of a strange sight, given you are so deep in the forest. Oh, she totally signposted them. Dark though it might be, you have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick the writing out on this old, dilapidated signpost, curved and slanted though it is. I really may never know. Your fate, if you will forgive me for sounding cliché, is in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? What do you guys think? Go to the shore, the village, or the castle? I think I already know what I want to do. I'm just curious what you guys are thinking. Castle and takeover. Yes, yes, 2 for castle, including me. Go to castle? Cool, done. I want to go to the castle. Do you want to go to the castle? Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once their beleaguered, put-upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princes they once dreamed of. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which very well may be deserted, or the village, which will be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? It is far better to skip the suffering and go to the grand finale. That is very astute of you. This narrator is a little snarky. I did not realize you had it in you to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will discover during your moonlight meanderings. The night is far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. No, it's okay, Bear. You're not a villager, you're a patron. I hope only that you have brushed up on your curtsies. They might come in handy when one is interacting with a sovereign. Royals can be temperamental, after all. Immortal, you made it! You're in luck, we just started. If you fail to treat them with the requisite amount of respect, you might come to regret it. You follow the path which leads to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs which feel ready at a moment's notice to detach from your hips. You are little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb, you feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainly. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continue to run, that you will find a spare room available for you in the castle. You do not know what exactly will await you at the castle, but you have visions as you run of a vast, opulent dwelling. This thing is going to be so abandoned. This dwelling will be surely full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest your weary head. There must also be a king and queen inside this castle, you ponder, who will be kind and wise. And what of their children? What of a princess? Every good castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you and your plight. You can imagine the face of this generous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. The princess will be fair of hair and blue of eye, with soft pink lips pursed like rosebuds. Her limbs will be slender, her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and her sensibilities will be sweeter than marzipan. She will be kind to you and compassionate, just like an older sister. You do not know what older sisters are like, though, or younger sisters, for that matter. You are only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know, from voracious reading, have the best track record when it comes to caring for the peasantry. Was there not a very famous queen who once said with a cavalier wave of her hand that the hungry peasants in her kingdom should content themselves with cake if bread was not an option? I don't remember. I think that's like a dramatization. Marie Antoinette saying, "Let them eat cake." Guys, I'm done. We already forgot to do a first save. I feel like which location we go to is gonna have like a significant impact on what the preceding story is going to be. So it would have been a really good idea to save right before that choice. It's been too long since I've done visual novels. And yet I played so much Slay the Princess. You think that this... Oh! Well, here it is. You think that this might be a misquote, but the point still stands. I wonder if in this one we'll slay the princess later. Maybe. The royals are supposed to grant their subjects succor in their time of need. This does not always happen. I hate that word. I hate that word so much. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. The word succor. It just, it grosses me out. It makes my stomach turn. No, I hate that word. I don't have an answer other than it's just too similar to suck, which is weird. And it just gives me a reaction like some people with the word moist. You know, it's just like sucker, no. Anyway, in fact, it very rarely happens. Kings and queens and princesses and princes are just people at the end of the day, and they are subject to the same caprices that all humans are. They can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. There is no guarantee that this mythical princess of your imagination will help you. Why, there is no guarantee that this mythical princess exists at all. Still, you must try. It is this hope which keeps you going. You guys spamming suck in chat. Oh. I mean, don't worry. I don't hate the word suck, actually. I hate the word sucker. I don't hate the word suck. But, you know, if that makes you happy, please continue. You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you do it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares that dwelt within it. It is still cold, though, and foggy, and very, very dark.
This sucker that I suck gives me sucker.
Ah! No! Ew! Yazzie! No! The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. The stone edifice of the building is imposing, and it drowns you in shadows darker than the depths of the deepest ocean. The castle is not all dark, though. Not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights flickering within, in the narrow, slitted windows. It would appear that somebody is home. It's not abandoned. The king and queen, perhaps? What of their servants? What, perhaps more pressingly, of their guards? You half expect as you stand there that armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of the king and queen so-and-so. Do you not know your place, foolish peasant girl with a dirty skirt? Begone with you. You are not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one, or rather, they were, before your father made a series of poor financial decisions. Figures. You do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and your dirty skirt, which is torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be surprising. But, though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in front of your filthy skirt, you do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on inside the castle, but there is nobody outside its perimeter standing sentry. There is nobody to impede your entry, and the elaborate iron gates which are set into the vast stone walls about the castle's interior are open. Just a crack. It would be a trivial matter to slip inside. There's nobody to stop you. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You have come so very far, it would be an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on. Go. You inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has at long last begun to fail you. And then you step forwards. You slide between the wrought iron gates as stealthily and secretive as a thief, then cross the path which leads up to the tall, imposing structure. The domed doorway which leads into the castle itself, hewn from stone, is closed, but at a push of your palm, it swings inwards. The door creaks alarmingly as it opens, the sound loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. You inhale at this and glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. If there are any guards posted about the castle's grounds, they should have all been alerted by that sound. Hi, Kari. Welcome, welcome. Will they come for you, at long last? What will happen should they catch you? Will they throw you in the dungeons? That does not sound like a pleasant way to spend a night. At least you would have a roof over your head, though, and you would not have to keep walking. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an indeterminable amount of time, your heart pounding in a panicked, irregular rhythm in the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. You are thankful for your good luck, though it does make you wonder, where is everybody? Why, it is almost as if all the people in the world have disappeared. Could you be the very last human left alive? You frown, then press your palm against the door. You push less cautiously this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There is no point worrying about the guards, not when they might very well be non-existent. I really like the writing so far. I wasn't so sure about it at first, but like it flows so well for reading aloud. This is really nice. I like this fun little fairy tale so far. Your entry to the castle secured. You then take a step forwards. The door swings shut behind you, and the resultant slam makes you jump. You did not expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs, and with wild eyes you glance about. You are standing in a vast entrance hall made of stone which splits off into any number of passages. At the very end of the hall, meanwhile, there is an elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend to the heavens themselves. It is dark inside the hall, but there are numerous torches set in sconces in the stone wall which are aflame. They offer some relief from the shadows. You can hear the faint sound of the wind outdoors as it moans against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps. You cannot hear any voices. You cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle is empty. If that is the case, though, then who lit these torches? It is a curious conundrum. You muster up what remains of your courage, then cry out, addressing the empty hall in a timorous voice which fails to properly fill up the space. Dude, I feel like this narrator hates the main character. Or just, like, really delights in their suffering. Hello? You say, your eyes wide. Is anyone there? Your voice echoes through the vast, empty hall, but it is met, yet again, with silence. You cannot say you are too surprised, but it is somewhat Disappointing. Not one to be deterred, you try again and again, your voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anybody is here, they do not seem to be particularly sociable. That, or perhaps, they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Yes, that must be it. You will never find that pretty fairy tale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know? It is time to get to work. Put those legs of yours to good use. Not knowing what else to do, is there anything else you can do? You begin to explore. You examine the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are of similar scale to the impressive entrance hall, large and richly furnished, but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimless meandering, encountering nobody save the ghosts of aeons past, memorialized on portraits upon the walls, you muster the courage to ascend to the second floor. This floor, too, you examine, wandering through a seemingly endless series of hallways until, at long last, you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack in the door and the jamb, you see flickering light. Irregular, yes, but it is light nonetheless. Could it be from a fireplace? That would suggest, then, that this room is occupied, unlike all the others. Perhaps the kindly princess you dreamed of will be awaiting you in this room. It is with a trembling hand that you press your palm against the door. You push it. And then you step inside the bedchamber, which unveils itself to you. Shyly, you stand in the threshold of the chamber, much of your courage extinguished, and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. It is a chamber so luxuriant not even the shadows can obscure the fine craft of the furniture within it, nor the rich patterns on the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. Oh! I like the art style! Oh, and she's cute! Oh my god, she looks like she's kind of a bitch, but like in a hot way. Guess we'll find out, won't we? Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering four-poster is a girl in a sumptuous red gown, who seems to be of a like age to you. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze directed downwards at her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender calves, which protrude from beneath the hem of her dress, that she is very pretty. Hair and calves. Our main character has got some interesting taste. The girl's hair is golden, just like freshly cut wheat, but it is the red of her dress which truly captures your attention. She is so striking, you cannot look away from her. Gay! The girl is not alone. The girl is not alone in her chamber either. She has a companion, though this companion is not half so endearing as she. In her lap, perched upon her velvet skirt, is a doll. The doll's hair, like that of her mistress's, is golden, though much of it is hidden beneath a bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup held in the doll's tiny hand, while the rim of the cup glints in the light which exudes from the fireplace. If the girl is of a similar age to you, it would seem that she would content herself, or it seems strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for it? This girl would be more at home, you decide, at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. She should not be sitting in what you presume is in her bedchamber, adjusting a teacup in a doll's hand. But you are not afforded much more time to stand there, marveling at the girl, because she turns. She raises her head. Then her eyes meet yours. You thought the girl pretty when you first observed her, sitting on the edge of her plush velveteen bed, examining her doll. Now she is looking at you, however, her face illuminated by the flames in their grate. You can see that you were mistaken. She is not just pretty. She is beautiful. So much so, it is breathtaking. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong in this world. Perhaps she has some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination. Your dream girl come to life. But no, she is none of those things. The doll on her lap is a cold, hard thing made of porcelain, and it is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she'd not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl who was holding it. She is so startlingly beautiful, she even puts man-made representations of feminine charms to shame. Our girl is down bad. Good for you. The sight of her makes you feel rather weak. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? You were rather hopeless when it comes to them. Even worse than a knight errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but, well, it is not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, attired in red, illuminated by firelight. I suppose I can forgive you for this rudeness, as too can the girl. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Oh, the girl says in a voice that, surprisingly enough, is far less refined than her appearance. It is good to see you. I've been waiting. Has she? That is news to you. You blink, perplexed, a response at the tip of your tongue, but you're unable to expel it into the ether. The girl is setting her doll aside. Then she stands, the hem of her dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly like a ballerina. What? Fuck. Nimbly like a ballerina, she canvases the space between you. Her room is so very large, there's quite a lot of space. Then takes your hands in her own. You must, the girl says, her eyes aglow with excitement, be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it's such a relief that you finally arrived. I knew that you would. You'd never leave me alone. Not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy. The girl's mood is contagious. So much so, you find yourself being swept away in it. You are tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. Had the strangest match of Dark and Darker ever. How is Dark and Darker, anyway? I actually picked up another game that, well, picked up, I say, it was free. I installed a game that's similar in genre and seems also very appealing. It's called Dungeonborn. I'm curious about that, and it seems to have a lot of elements that I like over Dark and Darker so far. But I know Dark and Darker has changed a lot since I've played it, so maybe... I'm in such a rambling mood right now, my bad. You have never been a maid before, but you might not mind being this girl's maid. She does not seem like a poor mistress to serve, not if she is always this kind. You cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You're not a good enough actress, and in any case, this is all happening too quickly. Why, you barely know this girl. Why is she being so very familiar? It is with blank, bovine eyes that you examine the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. She frowns. Then she says, her fingers sliding away from your own, "Or am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all?" The disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so, your heart clenches. That sounds cool, Immortal. Looting in the middle of a firefight, realizing that neither side is daring to hit you because you've so far been utterly neutral in PvP fights. Yeah. That sounds like extraction shooter fare, though, like, Dark and Darker's combat is so much slower, but also really deadly at the same time. I can see, like, people just kind of, like, keeping their distance playing chicken a lot. You do not know her. She is still a stranger. But you are stuck, all of a sudden, with the intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. The thought is devastating. Dark and Darker is the minor difference of friendly encounters are surprisingly common. I have had one friendly encounter in all of my time playing Dark and Darker, which admittedly is not a lot, but most of the time everybody just like wants to shit on me. You were not aware, you tell her, that you had applied to be her maid. But if that is what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country, and you have traveled for so many miles. You know not where you are, and you do not know who she is. What? You don't know who I am? It is forgettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her, though that is no fault of her own. Yeah, I don't know. I'm already kind of iffy about fantasy stuff. I usually prefer, like, science fiction or science fantasy is, like, my preferred. And Dark and Darker is really great for people who like regular D&D 5th edition, you know? Why Dungeonborn? Because the combat and the spellcasting look a bit more interesting to me, and the art direction and map design is a lot more eye-catching. Like, I absolutely do not want to play a spellcaster in Dark and Darker. I think it's really clunky and kind of not enjoyable. But Dungeonborn looks actually like it would be pretty damn fun. Why, you have spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself. Ah, so you're a fugitive then, from another country? I see. I won't pry into your past then, if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everybody in this country knows who I am, after all. Or, at the very least, they should. Now, this is quite the impressive boast. If they were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. I think she's a vampire. Guys, I'm calling it. I'm pretty sure she is a vampire. This is a vampire in a vampire castle, and that's why there's nobody here, because she eats people, and this is like a Carmilla vampire Bowsette situation. She do got the fang. She got a little bit of a fang going on. Did I just notice the dress design? No, I mean, I've noticed the dress design for a minute, and I've been admiring it, but I don't know if this screams vampire. It definitely screams, like, sus and possibly murdery, but not specifically vampire. I'm just, like, getting those vibes from context clues. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. You get the feeling, instead, that she is merely telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I am its princess. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, But I know that that other countries do exist out there. I presume is from one of these foreign countries that you come from. It is very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. It feels like quite the opportunity. The girl giggles at this and you smile in response. You tell her unthinkingly that it is your pleasure, really, to meet her, or at least you mean to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. You come to a stop. Then you stare. She just say she was a princess? Oh my god, you mean that wasn't obvious from the start? Girl, what are you thinking? Yes, that's right. I'm a princess, and one day I'll be a queen, and after I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet, but I've been doing my best at my lessons. One day, I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was. So, she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given she lives in a castle, but it comes at great surprise regardless. You hadn't known before you entered this chamber that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. Why, if she hadn't willed it, or if she willed it, she could have you executed for your carelessness. An ugly red flush creeps up on your face, a flush which is far more lurid than the princess's dress, as you look to your feet. Bashfully, you stammer out a new address, that you are very sorry for intruding upon her, and you only hope that she can forgive you. Oh, it's alright. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes, and anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here. You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You are not from this world at all. Ooh. Is this an isekai situation? How wonderful. I'll look forward to picking your brain later. All my servants come from the nearby village. Their tales are all the same, and so are their superstitions. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. More like eating your brain later? Yeah, exactly. The word choice of picking your brain is like a little sus. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long, I hardly ever get the chance to talk to other girls of my age. My last lady's maid was older than me, and so was the one before her, and the one before her. Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning by degrees into something rather more pensive. But I haven't seen any of my old lady's maids in a while, or the other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared. Now, that is quite curious. How could a household full of servants simply disappear? That, I don't know. His castle was full of servants once. My lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But, then again, they never explained anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It is so tiring. She said that her ministers sent her servants away? What of her parents, the king and queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy? They would, yes, but if they were still alive. But they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants. Oh, you answer, and then you flush. You hadn't known. It's alright. You don't need to apologize. I'm just happy that I have you now. I was getting sick and tired of having only my dolls to speak to. They aren't the best conversational partners. You went a little mad from the isolation, didn't you? You're a little unhinged now, aren't you? Aren't you? I bet you are. You can imagine so, yes. You doubt any doll, even one made by a talented artisan with an intelligent face indistinguishable from a human's, would be very good at answering back. No, they aren't. They're helpless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You've no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle is so big, and without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here. Oh! Oh! She said it! She said the title of the game! She said the thing! It gets so low there! Ah! Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew in that curiously conversational manner of hers which does not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. That would explain why her consonants are so unrefined. Oh, but listen to me, yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you to your room? Yes! The princess announces before you can say anything in reply. I think I'll do just that. I might show you a bit around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here, and I wouldn't want you getting lost. You'll be staying in here for quite some time, after all. You know, forever. The princess hastens to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, she does not show you all the rooms in her abode. Neither does she offer overly long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens, where she offers you some victuals. Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark, twisting hallway up a series of equally dark, twisting steps until she arrives, at long last, before a door. The princess pushes this door aside summarily, thus permitting you entrance to a small, humble bedchamber. A chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, with its resplendent four-poster and its richly patterned wallpaper. This room's ceiling is not as high, with a singular bed shoved in against the wall is thin and narrow. The walls are an unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles is of warped wood. There is a malodorous scent, too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. You get the feeling that nobody has slept in this room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so very cold in here. Though, if the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, it is that it is cold in every room in her abode. You know who likes the cold? Vampires. Now, here we are, the final stop of our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking. The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you, her eyes upturned like those of a loyal dog's. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid that you will turn your nose up at her kindness. For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. This is unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her ingratiating attitude makes you smile. The room is rather scanty, yes, but when it comes to its contents, it is more than passable. It has a roof and 4 walls, and though it is cold, you fancy you will feel warmer once you have slipped beneath the bed's sheets. The room is not quite so fancy as your dormitory. Why is my mouth tracking not working? Probably because my mic is blocking it. As your dormitory at the conservatoire, and neither is it so large, but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. You will not be expected to share it with anybody else. There is only one bed in this room, and this bed is to belong to you. You think that the peace and quiet will do you a world of good. You tell the princess as much, and she smiles. That's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's 10 beds up there, and they're so close together, there's barely any room to pass between them. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it. The last time I went up there, not that I was supposed to be up there, it was a rainy day, and I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd been skulking around, I don't think she would have been best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you up there, though, in the attic with all those empty beds. I didn't think it'd be very cheery. You're not just a scullery maid, you're my lady's maid. That means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now, it's getting late. You'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I've heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit. One that's unbecoming for a lady. Oh, it's so great. Please, Rent. You're cute. You're adorable. I like when you talk about things you like. The housekeeper's warned me enough times. Your housekeeper's a bitch! You reassure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You do not mind if she talks too much. That is better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easier to spend time with her. Manners be damned. You were always scolded, too, back in the conservatoire for your behavior. You know full well how aggravating it can be to be upbraided. Not for any particular misdemeanor, but for being yourself. Well, I'm glad you understand, the princess answers with a giggle. I really should be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow if you don't mind my ceaseless prattle. I'm glad you seem to appreciate it at least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All my old maids did. The princess departs, and in her absence, you take a seat upon the bed. Your new bed. You cannot help but think this is all happening very quickly. It does not seem like very long ago you were still in the forest, running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, gasping branches. Grasping. The forest might as well be a distant memory now, though. You are indoors, inside a castle, no less. You've been given a room in which to sleep and clothes that you might wear. It seems premature still to declare that you are out of the woods in a metaphorical sense. I mean, but things certainly could be worse. You force yourself to stand on legs which feel too weary to support you and change into the night clothes hanging in the wardrobe. The night clothes do not fit you perfectly, but you're too tired to care about that. You're too tired to care about much of anything. You retreat to the bed and slide beneath its sheets. Then, you let your eyelids fall shut. You exhale. And, lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors, you fall asleep. You are so very tired. Your sleep is a deep, dark one. Darker, even, than the furthest abysses of the nighttime. Like the nighttime sky, however, which shimmers with stars, your sleep is not devoid of those prismatic fragments you humans call dreams. Though, in this case, I rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They are not dreams, are they, to which your slumbering mind is subjected? You know that they are not. Otherwise, your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids like with ghostly images in a kistoscope were not conjured from within your mind. They were instead taken from your memories. You are not merely dreaming, you are remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory. While they always hastened to use the shower at first, so you were last for breakfast. Hang on. Fanatoscope. Let me... Fanakistoscope? Oh! That's the name of that? A phenakistoscope is basically like it was like the first iteration of animation. Basically, it was like a little circular disc that had a bunch of slides on it, like a bunch of frames of an animation drawn on it, and then you would rotate it inside of a projector, and then it would create like an animated image. So it's very, very, very early animation. It's like actually the first like device to use an animated picture. You remember how, when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snaffled up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food, because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for these favors, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies too, many of them wealthier than you. Sorry. When everybody has the airs and graces of a princess, how was anybody supposed to stand out? You stood out the least in your class, perhaps because you were one of the smallest, the frailest, the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though, when they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, as you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatoire, to carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then, come the evenings, the girls in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and ironing out the creases and wrinkles in their uniforms. God! Girl with spine! How could you let them do this to you? Then again... fuck. Schoolgirls can be fucking evil. So so sad. There was an odd job that needed performing. You would always be asked. But these girls did not ask you. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead, and as they ordered you, they laughed at you. They laughed, and they laughed, and they laughed. The laughter hurt, but it considerably less than the kicks did, the slaps and the punches. Okay. So she really... How could you stand up for yourself in that situation? Once, during an embroidery lesson, one of your classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least pretended to. Ow. And before you knew it, the silvery blades of those scissors were embedded in your left palm. This happened quite some time ago when you were even literaler than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt. A lot. The scissors were sharp, and they perforated your skin, not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red, like strawberry jam, all over your embroidery. Then, when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned pale and way as she looked, for a few moments, as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. Your professor looked at your face. She could not bear to look at your hand, then demanded to know why you could not be more careful. God. Not cool. Her tone had been an accusatory one, almost as if you had stabbed yourself in the hand with the scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt, but the giggles of your persecutors hurt all the more. They never were punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everybody else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when all was said and done, was not too deep. It did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time on its own, though it still left a scar, a white, raised thing like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. Do not know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You could smell it in the air, sharp as iron. But it could not have been that much, evidently. Ayo, Miko. Welcome. If your new wound had been more serious, perhaps your professors might have cared. We're playing a cute lesbian fairy tale visual novel that also might be really dark and horrible. Remains to be seen, but it's got some nice flowery writing so far. It's very wordy, though. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did, but this seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? I would like to remind you, Immortal, that we have very different impressions of what's cute. No, it's true. You're probably significantly more normal than me or anybody else who agrees with me. If you meant next to nothing, then the blood in your veins was, if such a thing was possible, even more inconsequential. You feel disoriented when you awake, at long last, with the rising of the sun. You do not remember what you dreamt. But you do not think that your dreams were of a particularly pleasant nature. If they were, your heart would not be hammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. You are lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? This does not look like your dormitory in the conservatoire. Not unless it has shrunk threefold overnight. Your brow furrows as you attempt to recall the events of the night prior until, with a gasp, it all clicks into place. You remember now. You were running through the woods trying to escape from... You shudder. You do not want to think of what it was you were trying to escape from. You presume that you must have given your hunter the slip, though, because you were still in one piece, awake and alert enough to face the dawning of a new morning. You still have all of your limbs, your facial features appear to be in the correct configuration. That is more than enough to be getting along with. You look to the foot of your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. You can see, lying upon the sheets, a garment. 2 garments, actually. A black and white, folded into a neat white square. What could that be? A maid's outfit? Oh, fuck yeah! I mean, we are gonna be a maid, so that's just, I don't know, maid outfits are sick. If so, it might not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit with the princess the night prior, and her assertions that you must be her lady's maid. Well, if that is the role she wants you to assume, you have no qualms with it. It is far preferable to the other role you played last night, that of a startled quarry running from its pursuer. You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. It feels surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. These clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them here? If so, that is all the more reason to wear them. You were not so churlish enough to deny her hospitality. You rise from your new bed, then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. This task accomplished, you then clad yourself in your new attire, black, white, and eminently sensible. You feel very far away from the girl that you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you seems to have changed. You are no longer a student, not as long as you mean to reside in the princess's castle. You would far rather be her servant. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber, then make your way to your mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one with many, many rooms and many, many hallways to connect them, and for a brief while you find yourself horrendously lost. You cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. You're beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon a stairwell that looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You ascend these steps, your footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them, then find your way down to the very same hall you traversed the night prior. If your memory does not fail you, then the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, it is here. You rap upon the door, but receive nothing in the way of a response. Is the princess still abed? You wonder briefly if you oughtn't wait until she has risen of her own accord. But no. The sun is high in the sky, and it would be a shame to let the princess sleep through the day. You ought, instead, to rouse her. That seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should... Oh, no! No, don't wake her up! Oh no! She's probably sleeping during the day because she's a vampire! You enter the princess's bedroom and glance about. Her room looks much the same as you remember it from the night prior, though the ceiling seems even higher when viewed in the wan morning's light. Dude, Miko, I know you just got here, but this girl, this princess, has such immaculate vampire vibes. She strikes me as an Elizabeth Bathory or a Carmilla situation. It just feels so possible. And watch me be wrong immediately. Yes. I find her relatable. Because I'm hoping she might also be a vampire. Is that what you want to hear? Huh? Okay. Her armoire is large and imposing, as is the grate in which you will be expected to keep the fire lit during the nights. The princess herself is meanwhile curled on her side beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose than her title would suggest. She is attired in a nightgown adored with frills, and her hair is split across her pillow like spilled gold. And our main character is so down bad for her. It's adorable, actually. In her slender arms, meanwhile, held to her chest, is a doll. The very same one she was cosseting last night. You suppose this doll must be her favorite. Idly, you wonder what the doll's name is, though you do not suppose it matters all that much. It is time you wake your mistress. You call out to the princess, but she is largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are still sewn tightly shut, and her lips pursed in slumber. You purse your lips too, and sigh. Well, nobody ever said your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess, and this time she replies. Her response is not a favorable one, however. She sighs, then turns away from you, her doll clutched to her chest. Just give me a little bit longer. The princess sounds so enfeebled, but you do not take pity on her. If you have learnt anything from the conservatoire, say from knowledge pertaining the respiratory tracts of fish, is that one must be cruel to be kind. You do not think this adage was practiced with any great success in the conservatoire, but perhaps it will have more of an impact upon the princess. You tell her, once again, to wake up. more sternly this time. You will not let her sleep, for she has slept long enough already. It is very slovenly, really, to still be abed at such an hour. Oh. Defeated, the princess sighs. Alright. I see that I can't twist you around my little finger. Oh! Oh, she looking cute. I'm up. You don't need to nag me. Once you have roused the princess from her bed and you have put her doll to one side, you set up upon her toilette. You aid the princess in the brushing of her hair, a chore to which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow its fur to be brushed. Oh! Oh! Oh god. The gay panic of brushing a beautiful girl's hair. A beautiful princess's hair even. Oh god, this is too good to be true. When is the other shoe gonna drop? You allow yourself to ponder, as you run the bristles of the princess's brush through her hair, how wonderfully soft it feels against your skin. Gremblow spotted? Who's the Gremblow, Jazzy? Are you calling me a Gremblow right now? Don't call me a Gremblow just because I'm being gay, okay? It's Valky's dream. I don't know, it might be my dream to be the princess in this situation, but also, I'm enough of a switch that I think I'm happy enough in either side of the situation. No, the small thing? Small? Small? Oh, her? Gremblow? Boop. I booped a snoot. But a curious query from the princess. Are you alright, dear one? Brings you back to your senses. You were rather lost in thought there. Valky is small though. No, I'm not. I'm not small. I'm tall. I'm not small. I'm only small right now because that's more convenient for your little human IVs. Look lively now. You wouldn't want the princess to catch wind of your salacious thoughts, would you? I thought you had learned your lesson about that already. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, narrator? How can you expect a lesbian to not be really gay around a pretty girl? To not be a absolutely hopeless disaster gay? It can be controlled. It can be I don't know, restricted a little bit, but you cannot be stopped. I am not small. I am not small. I am not tiny. No. 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 No small. No small. I am large. You see? I am large. Large. I am tall. So tall. Fear me, for I am the tallest. I am the mightiest. Small. You still think I'm small? How dare you? I am gigantic. I am massive. Behold my tie and my little gem and my cute clasps and my everything, my fangy-doos. They are mighty and large. I am not small. No small. Now it's perfect. Keep playing the game like that, but you can't see the pretty art. Is the clasp chain silver steel? It's enchanted silver. Well, technically my entire outfit, just like my body, is made of magic. But it is resembling heavily enchanted steel. So it has most of the physical qualities, although it's made of sterno stuff. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. I would like to continue the game. Anti-werewolf measures are always needed. Yes. Although personally, if a werewolf tries to commit violence with me, I usually like to pluck the soul out of their chest and play with it a little bit before I consume it right before their eyes. The existential dread that flickers across their face is always such a delight. It never gets old. Anyway. I hate that damn werewolf from Vampire the Masquerade. I don't really remember the werewolf. It's been such a long time since I played Vampire the Masquerade, and I did get incredibly far into the game, but I never finished it. Jazzy, jeez. I'm not naked. This simulacrum is constructed to have clothing. It's not like in Final Fantasy where I'm naked and I'm just wearing a glamour. This is like actual material here. It just so happens to be made of, condensed stardust, like basically everything else in your guys's universe. That was weird. Hello? Oh my god. No. The whole ass stream just disconnected for a second. That was weird. Anyway, as I was saying, Jazzy, if somebody, not that I really want to entertain the idea of somebody seeing through magic. That seems very strange, but if somebody could see through magic, they would see through my body too. So I mean, like, oh well, Although, extra lewd. Oh yeah, they'd be able to see the air behind me. They might be able to see the divine machinery that creates my consciousness. Ooh, so lewd. Actually, damn, that does sound kind of intimate, actually. To be able to see me all the way down to my machinery, all the way down to my components. It'd be like seeing my true form. That'd be so lewd. So lewd. Oh. See my shiny bits? Yes. Some of those bits are indeed shiny. Okay. I'm gonna continue. Feel free to ask or do any other lore-based comments if you like. But I wanna see more of the story. Suitably chastened, you finish with the princess's hair, then set the brush aside. Now that the princess's tresses have been taken care of, you must start on her attire. The princess remains seated upon the edge of the bed, looking up at you askance. She does not ask you to avert your eyes, nor does she make any motion of divesting herself of her nightgown. It really does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on your own. Damn, she wants me to undress her and dress her? I guess, like, some royalty actually did that. Is that alright? You ask the princess as much. You would not wish to impinge upon her modesty, but she only laughs. Yes, that's alright. That's what you're supposed to do. If you're to be my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed and undressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it. So lewd. Oh my god. She might not be squeamish about it, but you are. Yeah. If you're already this down bad for this girl, and you are, like, if you're already this gay for her, and she's asking you to undress her, fuck. Especially if you try to keep that to yourself. Oh my god, that'd be awful. You have never seen a naked woman before, excepting yourself. Even then, however, you have always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body for longer than is strictly necessary. Sounds like body dysmorphia. You have never so much liked the way that you look. You make a few more mumbled objections, but the princess sweeps them to one side easily. It's alright. I might be a princess, but we're both people underneath all of our clothes. I doubt we look that much different. You're not so sure about that. You have not yet seen the princess unadorned, but you already know, to look at her face, you are different. I am ready to switch scenes if she is actually naked. I don't think I can get away with that on Twitch. So, bear with me here. She is much, much prettier than you are. But she is waiting, and you do not wish to keep her any longer. Please don't. Please don't. I don't need to see Booba. We do not need to see Buddha. Buddha? I mean, we can see Buddha, but we can't see Booba. You steady your nerves. Thank God! Okay, we get to continue streaming this. Then you reach out with trembling hands, and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. You work quickly as you are able, which, givenly how bad your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble with a couple of buttons, flinching as you do. Yes, she went misform. She's gotta be a vampire. The princess, however, seems blissfully unaware of what it is exactly you are doing, or not doing, for your fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. She's not even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond your shoulder to the windowsill and the sky beyond it. It isn't particularly sunny, but I don't think it's too cold outside. Going out for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one? You think that you would much like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible, so you can make some progress on dressing her again. Sight of all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Fortunately, you're able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps, spurred on, perhaps, by your anxiety. You bid the princess to stand, which she does, and neatly she steps out of her nightgown, her motions once again as graceful and fluid as a dancer's. The task completed, you search hurriedly, worriedly for the princess's red dress. Where is it? You cannot find it. Sweat begins to prickle in the back of your neck. Your palms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy. The moments pass awkwardly, uneasily as you search, the princess standing there, all the while as naked as the day she was born. Hey, great timing, Ace! Oh good, you're subbed. We're playing a little indie game visual novel called It Gets Very Lonely here. And we're currently serving on our first day as the maid to a really gorgeous princess, and we happen to be incredibly gay. Like, absolutely down bad disaster lesbian for this girl, which is cute. Princess, yes, not the slaying kind, by the looks of it anyway. Why did you not find her day dress before you stripped her of the night one? What a fool you are. The princess, noting your panic, giggles and says, Are you looking for my dress? Yes, you reply, your face flushed. That is what you were doing. I thought so. I wonder, before you started undressing me, why you'd not ask where it was? Maybe it slipped your mind? It had slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. Different kind of slay, absolutely. You were too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bared skin to think about how best to conceal it. My dress is in my armoire, the princess says, glancing over to the aforementioned piece of furniture. That armoire of hers is an intricately carved wooden structure. Large enough, or so you estimate, to fit inside it enough dresses to attire a whole ballroom's worth of princesses. I'd like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. To be a dear and fetch it for me. I don't want to rush you, but it is rather cold in here, especially when I'm still naked. She raises a good point. You turn away from the princess and make your way to her armoire. Once there, you open its wooden doors and peruse the clothes hanging within. It is just as you expected. Inside that wardrobe lies numerous dresses, all of them finely sewn and decorated with no shortage of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls. You find the princess's red dress soon enough, then hurry to her side. With your spoils in hand, you hurry to dress her, concealing once again the princess's pale skin beneath layers upon layers of soft red velvet. She is easier to look at now, you think, with her skin concealed. That might have been the most nerve-wracking task you have ever had to accomplish, even more so than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. Yeah, the style is really quaint and nice, and I love the art style of, like, the characters and the backgrounds. It's all just got so much charm to it, and I'm really like eating it up, even if the writing, while very good, is like a bit wordy. I still really like it. Okay. Why, it seems a small miracle you can even remember how to breathe. Ah, that's much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You've not been here for a full day, but I already wonder what I'd do without you. Yes, yes, it's super wordy, which means you get to listen to me narrate for long, uninterrupted amounts of time. I'm sure that's the absolute worst. Shyly, you assure the princess that you did nothing, really, nothing, beyond your job. You did not do anything incredible, and in any case, being complimented by somebody so pretty is embarrassing. Oh, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I, when you've been so helpful? It'd be rude not to, and anyway. I think you're very pretty too. Oh my. Your face flushes from this more deeply than ever before. Oh my god, is it actually gonna happen? Oh, I hope so. You ought to count yourself lucky, really, what with all this excessive blushing, that the princess does not seem to possess any vampiristic tendencies. Are you sure? I mean, she's awake during the day, and she's not, like, catching fire in the sun. So I guess maybe she's not a vampire, or she's just a daywalker. Not sure. You're making yourself quite the easy target. Look, princess, you're sweet, but that was literally just the job. I was 100%. She's just goth. Yeah, she might just be goth. Now, the princess declares, why don't we go for a walk? It's a nice enough day, and I get so very bored of being cooped up inside. You can't think of any particular objections to raise to this remark, and you think that the princess might have a point. The castle, though expansive, is somewhat stifling. The walls are so very thick, they put you in mind of a crypt. With your acquiescence assured, the princess quits her chamber, her posture elegant and her gait unhurried. She seems to not walk as she navigates her way through the seemingly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud. The hem of her dress swishes around her legs, and her hair shifts like a shroud. The castle's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking in comparison to the princess's beauty. Seriously, so damn bad. Aw, that's pretty. The courtyard is fenced in by the castle's walls, which look, in the stark midday light, tall and imposing. Faceless soldiers standing sentinel. Yes. Oh no, vampire princess. I hope she doesn't bite me sensually in the princess's bedchambers. Oh no, I hope she doesn't drink me until I get dizzy under the clear, vivid moonlight while I can see the stars up above. Anyway. Though the sun is out, it is not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It is all rather depressing. The princess's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple, hemmed in to a claustrophobic degree like a coffin. The princess, however, seems not to share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated by her newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. She gambols about like a lamb, flitting hither and thither as she examines the weed-infested flower beds. Her frolicking comes to a cease, however, by a bush. One is full of bright red roses. Oh, how very pretty! Do you not think they are gorgeous, dear one? This game is written as though it was meant to be read by Matt Mercer DMing a D&D campaign. Yeah, actually, I was like thinking of the narrating and realize, like, I don't know, it just feels a lot like my own DMing style as well, actually, in just the really dense narration of things, and I want to, like, take a lot of lessons from this, actually, from my own GMing. The flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose? Oh, they make for a fine spectacle, in fact. A welcome splash of color when contrasted with the dullness and drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in the beds are wilted, withered things, it is not so for these roses. They're magic. They are a rich, bright red, just like blood. Their heads so full they seem to almost droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. Yep, that's a flower nailed. I'm gonna get a good grade in lesbian. What? That's unbelievable. It'd only be better if they were lilies and if there were a bunch of butterflies flying around. They are pretty, in a sense. But there is something unsettling about them, too. Something that is almost obscene. Are these flowers, like, grown from corpses? Are these corpse roses? Or are they blood roses? How did those roses become so very red? I'm leaning towards blood. What has been sustaining them? Could it be possible that these roses have been draining the life from the other flowers which are now struggling to grow within this garden? It is a fanciful thought, but... Oh, they are simply divine. Looking at these roses always lifts my spirits. They really are my most favorite flowers. I simply must pick some of them. Perhaps I can use some of them to decorate my bedchamber. It could use a bit of color. Berry butters do make for good fertilizer, it's true. Oh no. Oh no, don't cut yourself on the thorns. The princess reaches out so as to pluck one of the roses free from its resting place among its brethren. You watch her, your breath bated. Yep. My thoughts exactly. Anxious that this gesture might result in perforated flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Of course she is not. Who do you think she was? You? Rather than worrying about other people, you'd be better served if you were more worried about yourself. Player is the vampire? Oh, that'd be sick. The princess holds her newly pilfered rose to her nose and inhales, her eyelids falling shut as the flower's sweet scent washes over her. A few moments of silence pass. Then the princess begins to toy with the petals which adorn the flower's crown. Now, let me see what fate has in store for me. She loves me? The princess plucks a petal from the flower's overburdened head. She loves me not. The princess continues with this childish incantation, all the while stripping her rose slowly and methodically of its petals. Yes, she is gay! Isn't it great? So happy. I actually think this might be a legit dating sim. And like at the beginning, I think you get to choose a few different routes. And this just so happens to be the heroine that we got to be with. At least I'm hoping. Fingers crossed that this gets to be like an actual dating sim and it gets to be cute and fun and sweet. While also dark and depressing. You know, a little bit on the side. A little bit of misery as a treat. I'm pretty enthusiastic about this game, I think. When it comes to horror game. I'm actually expecting at any point, at some point for it to become a horror game. I'm like, yeah, like I got too much Doki Doki Literature Club on the brain, you know? That changed the industry forever. These petals flutter about the princess like bloody snow. The princess's voice, meanwhile, echoes throughout the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of a pianola. Yes, Slay the Princess and Doki Doki have prepared us for this. At least, I'll say in Slay the Princess's defense, it was pretty upfront about it being a horror game. This, so far, not really sure. This is like cute. This is sweet. She loves me not. She loves me not. The princess's fingers hover over the final petal which crowns her nearly denuded flower. Then, with a triumphant smile, she declares, she loves me! I knew it. You watch the princess, amused by her girlish good cheer. A little mantra she has been reciting is one that you are familiar with. The girl is at the conservatoire used to engage in this little game, the younger ones at least, who believed that a fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself when you were a child yourself, and you never pinned your hopes and dreams, but you never pinned your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Princess? Your interest in princes has always been minimal. Princess? That's alright that you can't stay for the whole time, Ace. Just being here at all is really nice. And you can always watch the VOD to catch whatever you missed. When it comes to yes! Yes! God damn it! Yes! She admits to being gay. When it comes to fair princesses, though, well, that is a different matter altogether, isn't it? Pleasantly, you ask the princess whose love it is she wishes to court, a query which makes the princess giggle. Win for lesbians everywhere! Yes! It feels so self-indulgent to be playing this game, but I love it so much already. I'm having a wonderful time. Oh, dear one, who else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you. Naturally. She says it so easily, as if you ought to have expected as much, and indeed, part of you did. You wanted to believe, yet part of you was afraid to. Is it just me, or does it feel a little easy, though? You know? Like, it feels a little too easy. Maybe I'm just being, you know, but I don't know. You did not want to be arrogant enough to assume that the princess might care for your affections. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost as red as the roses, while the princess laughs. I'm a lesbian. I thought you were American. I miss Vine. I will say, though, this whole princess and maid dynamic is super, super doing it for me. I love this. I love that kind of romance. I like it a lot. Ah! This is wonderful. I'm too giddy. And just to let you know, Ace, since I mentioned this to everyone else before, I would be so happy to be in either side of this situation. Both of them are great for their own reasons. Yes, you rightfully assumed I would enjoy this. She has a choker and fang earrings. Yes. She also got the fang. She got a little fang, and she got this weird, gruesome-looking crown. Oh, she's so cute and goth. Although her nails are a little bit long, if you know what I mean. You might need to trim those. For later. She laughs and she laughs and she laughs. I really hope this is not like a derisive laughing, though it doesn't sound like it. Her voice clear and sweet like a nightingale's song, as though you were the funniest thing she has ever seen. You never liked being laughed at when you dwelt within the walls of the conservatoire, but it is different with her. That is fair. But I feel, well, I would top her. We would probably top her. You have not known her for all that long, but you are already entranced by her, ensnared. She has you wrapped around her little finger. Oh my. The princess' laughter tapers off into a series of giggles, as, smiling, she wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. That was quite the amusing diversion, but I've just had an idea. You look at the princess curiously. What idea? You can't tell? You cannot even begin to guess. I just thought that all this watching must be boring you, the princess said, tossing the rose's stripped stem carelessly to the ground. You should give it a try. Please do. It'll be fun. The princess retrieves a second rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers, and offers it to you. Yeah, that's true. Princesses are almost always bottoms. Wow. I'm like actually thinking about that, and that is like, I can't really think of any princesses that are tops. At least, maybe some. Life Before TV was wild is what they did for fun. Seriously. Going outside? Holy crap. Imagine that. I want to see what fate has in store for you two. You smile at the princess, touched by her enthusiasm. Indulging in childish games like this might not be the best use of your time, but the princess looks so very determined, you would not wish to hurt her. What could be the harm, really, in consenting? The only real causality... The only real casualty of this game will be one singular rose. The rose that the princess is holding towards you. You reach out, meaning to accept the princess's offering, but... Oh no! You are clumsy, and you seize the stem of the rose with a touch too much strength. The head of the rose might be more pretty, but there is more to a rose than its bright red flowers. Roses have thorns, too, a fact you are now being painfully reminded of. Pain flares through your finger, and you gasp. Oh no! The princess is is now gonna see blood. Hope she doesn't drink it. You take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Your finger is stinging, and so are your eyes. You ought to have been more careful. Why were you so stupid? You poor dear, you're bleeding, the princess exclaims, alarmed. Then she frowns. This is all my fault. If I'd not suggested this silly game, this never would have happened. Please, let me take care of you. And how is she going to do that? Perhaps she means to take a handkerchief from her pocket, with which she might staunch your wound. Is she gonna call us Spider Monkey and make us play baseball? I don't get that one. I don't think I know that one. Princesses tend to carry handkerchiefs around them, don't they? Silken ones? How else would they give brave knights tokens of their gratitude, once these aforementioned knights have successfully slain dragons? Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favors, it is simply not done. That is what you always thought. Oh, that's from Twilight? Well, that explains it. I've never seen nor read Twilight, and I have zero plans to do so. Please, hold still. This might sting a little bit. This princess is anything but ordinary. Rather than take a handkerchief out of her pocket, she instead encloses her white, slender fingers around your hand. Carefully, as though she is handling a precious object, she stares at your hand, her eyes affixed, all the while on the beads of startlingly crimson blood which are oozing luridly from your wound. She licks her lower lip. Vampire! 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 And she dips her head. Oh! Oh my! Oh my! Yee. Also, this is our first look at the player character. She's cute. Got pigtails. And pink hair. Actually, pink hair... Pink braided pigtails reminds me a lot of actually a character from one of my all-time favorite anime. One of the main characters, in fact. Which I like. She parts her mouth, and with a soft sigh which borders on the sensuous, she slips your injured digit between her teeth. So much for princesses not dispensing kisses as tokens of appreciation. This might not be a conventional kiss, but feels intimate regardless. Almost startlingly so. It's from Magia Record, the Madoka Magica side series. Really, really like it. Highly recommend. It has like all of the things that make Madoka Magica great, and then a lot of and then it doesn't have a lot of things that make it just like absolutely unbearably depressing. Like, it's a little bit less that. But yeah, it's the Madoka Magica series and the movies and the side series, they all are like the reason that I have a truly foundationally deep obsession with magical girls. And, you know, the juxtaposition of beauty and violence. That's just what I live for. The princess's lips, which are as red as any rose, are enclosed around your index finger. You can feel the warmth of the princess's mouth about your skin and the wetness of it. These sensations make your whole body quake. Okay, nope. Protagonist. Player character, protagonist is a bottom. You've seen it here, folks. You did not expect this. Tremulously in the voice which wavers, you ask the princess what she is doing. Oh? The princess glances up at you, her mouth still enclosed around your finger. Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding. Yes, you gathered as much, but... Is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? It is not, you say, that she is making you uncomfortable per se, but rather this is awkward. You did not expect it, that is all. And is she not worried that this is unhygienic? Unhygienic? The princess blinks. She's the very picture of innocence, which is funny, really, given your finger is still nestled against her tongue. I do not know what you mean by that, exactly.
but I've heard this is the best way to take care of cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child.
It's what you're supposed to do. And you ask, your voice catching in her throat, did her nursemaid keep staunching her wounds with her mouth when she grew older?
Well, no.
But my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I had my lady's maid to look after me then. How very interesting. And did they clean her wounds like this?
No,
The princess says, smiling mischievously.
because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself, silly.
Now that was quite the sharp retort. I did not expect it. Your face turns even redder, if such a thing is possible, though this might perhaps be to your benefit. With some luck, all your blood will flow to your face rather than to your finger, and their bleeding will stop. Has it stopped? Your injury was not a deep one. There should be no need for the princess to keep on suckling. But still, she is. You are not accustomed to the intimacy of this nature. It's making your heart flutter. If the princess knew what her mouth was doing to you, you're sure she would not be so very familiar. You feel quietly, crushingly confident that she would scorn you for your feelings and deem them unnatural. Yeah, appreciate the effort, protagonist. It would not be the first time. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stings, though. It stings much, much more than any thorn on any rose ever could. The days pass, following your misadventures in the rose garden, in a relaxed, unhurried sort of manner. Your mad dash through the forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory. So much so, you can scarcely recall the raw, naked fear you felt as you fled for your life. Do we feel like... Hang on. Oh no. We only have 6 save slots? Dear God. Okay, I'm gonna have to be a lot more careful there. It seems like a great time to take a break. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I don't want to keep you guys going for too long all at once. I'm so... Yes. You saw my habits when it comes to doing saves. I like to make a new save every time, and now I can't. Thinking you want more cute romance. Ugh. Oh, heck. I mean, I could keep going, but I'm also a little hungry. Yeah, that is fair. I do like to I do like to sometimes save saves, just like for the sake of it, like so I can relive some other stuff. I have been doing a lot of reading. This is not the most reading I've done in a stream before. I did a full-on storytelling stream a long time ago, Ace, if you ever want to see that. But I think a short break would be nice. Just and I'll actually like try to keep it short, and then we can run like a long ad break, and then not have to worry about ads for a while, so that'll be good. Okay. So we'll go ahead and see you in a little bit. In a little bit. In a little bit. A little bit. And we'll come back for a little bit more. It gets very... hang on. What's the name? It gets so... Yes, it gets so lonely here. I'm really liking this. I'm thinking it's like... it's just like... Yep. I've been looking for a game like this. A cute Yuri dating sim, because we all know how obsessed with lesbians I am. So this is really nice. And we'll come back for more in just a little bit. So don't go away. Oh. Ayo. Ayo. Eyes. Eyes with little stars in them. Yum. Yum, yum, yum. Okay. Sorry that took a bit longer than a short break. I am unsurprisingly not feeling well. Just been feeling a little crazy, and I see that the music also was causing problems again too. So that's annoying. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. Hope we're all doing good. Hope you had a good break. Hope you got some good food in you. I have had many gummies. So many gummies. As gummies are the only thing that I need to sustain this corporeal form that I maintain in front of you to this day. And anyway, we don't have a lot of time, so I want to continue. Yeah. There was no running to be had while you are working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run, and in any event, there is no longer any reason to run. The shadows which once tormented you have, at long last, begun to recede. You can scarcely recall as you lay down in your bed the petty cruelties you were subjected to by your classmates at the conservatoire. I feel like the real horror hasn't started yet. Like, there's still something bad that's gonna creep up. I don't know, they haven't introduced the conflict in this story yet, and it just, makes me a little worried for our protagonist here. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused not upon yourself, but upon the princess. Like, do we even know her name? We got this massive crush on her, and I don't think we even know her name. The more time you expend with her, the more you come to care for her. You have a theory, you're not sure you want to tell it? I mean, there's nothing wrong with having theories, right? It's not like you read ahead of what actually goes on in the plot of the game or something. Conflicts in my lesbian story, it's more likely to think. Honestly, in my experience, when it comes to anime lesbian games or anime lesbian media, there is so much suffering. Just an unnecessary amount of suffering. You have become quite besotted with her, but you are not yet to realize it. But you are yet to realize it. Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her own feelings? You're expecting it to go way dark. Yeah, kind of same. I'm kind of wondering if maybe, like, at some point, it's gonna come to light that the princess is a vampire, and she's gonna be like, she's just gonna turn super cruel and like harvest the protagonist for her blood after like torturing the shit out of her in the dungeons or something. I'm not hopeful. I want it to turn out well, obviously, but I'm just not sure. The princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though, despite having spent her whole life within the palace's walls. Yeah, I'm still kind of on the vampire thing. Not really. I'm not like positive, but I'm still feeling a little bit. The weight of her own feelings are not unknown to her. And during one stormy night, she chooses to make them known to you. You are in the princess's chambers later, perhaps, than you ought to be. Later than is strictly appropriate. It is dark outside, and there is little save the light of the moon to alleviate it. That, and the fire which crackles in the grate. You have only just finished stoking that very fire, and now you rise. You look to the princess, who is lying in her bed, and you bid her a good night, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause.
Wait, dear one. Do not go. Not just yet. Perplexed, you pause, then look back at the princess. Like, neither of them... Like, nobody's exchanged names. I find that a little odd, but also, this is a fairy tale situation, so I guess, like... Names are kind of... Names are kind of, like, not relevant. Do you think the princess is a cannibal? Because I'll admit, that's crossed my mind, too. That the princess might eat people? Just thinking about that one. Where does the food come from? I mean, does she cook it? Can she cook? She's a princess. She doesn't even dress herself. I don't know. Also, like, what have we been eating this whole time? They don't really tell you. Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually wan. Is she alright? Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, which make me feel a little out of sorts. And what, you ask, does she mean by that? Only then it is very cold and very dark. It is very windy besides. I'm afraid there will be a storm later. Oh. See you around, Ace. Yeah, let me know what you think of the VOD once you get a chance to watch it. It was awfully cloudy earlier. When we went out for a walk. Princess not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of you promenaded about the gardens earlier, was gray and steely. The wind bitingly cold. God, that sounds so nice. Oh, I miss having that weather. I wish I lived somewhere where it had that weather all the time. I love cold and dreary and windy and cloudy. Ah, it's so nice. You can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone and is well fortified. But even with the fire, it is rather cold. You do not like to think of how much chillier by comparison it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace. Tire of the sun's deadly laser, absolutely. It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me feel uncomfortable. You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. No, I don't want to go to Antarctica. I don't want to live in polar temperatures. I don't want to live in Alaska. Although, if Alaska had a little bit more civilization to it, I would actually consider living there. But no, I kind of want like Seattle in the United States, or like London, but without the British. London, but without the UK in it. That is true. There would be Pengu all over the place in Antarctica, but also there would be no people. There'd be no people, and I'd have to wear like 5 layers just to go outside. Will she really be all right? All alone in her oversized bed, in her high-ceilinged bedchamber? You know it's silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be all right? There is nobody in the castle to hurt her. But still, you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it's your job to fret for her. You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. Do I need to tend to your needs, mistress? You ask the princess what it is she would have you do, and the princess perks up at this, pleased, perhaps, that you were taking the initiative. I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time. when it is so very late. But would you mind sitting with me a little while longer and reading to me? Providing that you can, of course. This is a fair enough question, but your pride bristles regardless. Hastily, you assure the princess that, yes, of course you can read. You were a poor student in many aspects of the conservatoire, but I wonder if that's supposed to be just conservatory. I don't know. But you had something of a gift when it came to the literary arts. Reading books is all you have ever been any good at.
It's true, she's all about fairy tales.
Oh, I see. I should have known. You're so incredible, I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do.
Princess's high praise makes you flush.
Awkwardly, you look away.
Being able to read, you assure her, is not such a great feat.
Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read the books that I like.
This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books exactly she likes.
Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see. Old ones from centuries past.
Okay, I know she's a princess, but she's not me. Though maybe she would like Yuri manga.
I have a collection of them here, the princess says, indicating a book on her bedside table, as thick as a mortuary slab. The book is old, though, and the bindings are weak. The pages brittle, the writing woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants for that book, but I think you would do a good job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading to me for just a brief while? Please, dear one, oh please.
The princess's request seems a simple one expressed so sweetly. There's so much so you see no reason to refuse her. You take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then you retrieve the leather-bound book which is resting upon her bedside table and spread it open. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. You can feel in the heft of the book's manifold pages the weight of the ages concealed within it. How old is this book? Perhaps it is as old as the castle in which it resides. It is with a quiet voice, hesitant at first, that you begin to read the tale to the princess, a tale of courtly love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while as you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging, or so it seems, upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase embossed upon the pages of this aged tome, and they lived happily ever after, the princess sighs as though this tale has touched her very soul. She's such a child at heart. Like, she's just got so much whimsy.
Oh, would that there was a handsome prince. Would that there was a handsome prince to marry me, she says somberly. Or better yet, a beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even settle for a lowly scullery maid.
You blush at this idle remark and mumble softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you have never been one to raise your voice. You do not expect, therefore, that the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against her pillows, and says, "And what would be the problem with that, As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of propriety?" "Well, of course," you reply, "but for a princess to marry a scullery maid..."
"You are still hung up about that?" Princess titters. "Don't pay it too much heed. I'm just talking to myself."
As if anything like that would never happen, when there is no priest around who would officiate it. You think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find somebody that she loves, there would be nobody to make such a wedding official.
You cannot help but feel like you have avoided a good deal of nuisance. But by the same token, do you not feel a touch disappointed? Well, never mind. It was a nice story, the princess says, but I'm not sleepy yet. And it's still storming outside. Won't you read me one more? You would not mind, you reply, but it is getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber. I know, but can you find it in your heart to read one story to me? Just one. You can choose a short one. I won't complain. You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she is a princess, though that is, of course, part of it, but because she is, well, radiant. You would not, you think, as you return to the next story recounted in this aged compendium, want to upset her. You would rather cut out your own tongue. Is she gonna make me cut out my own tongue? Is that gonna happen? I don't know. You read another story to the princess which is of a similar vein to the last. Impossible adventures culminating at their close in a happy marriage. This tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you had read prior, and she begs for another, then another. One bedroom story becomes 5, and even then, when the candles flicker on the princess's bedside are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of moderation. When she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it, her only request that of more. If she were less comely, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no would have been a character defect. You're on it? What? Moderation. Nice. Thank you, Risu. Thank you. Good one. The princess is very comely, however, and so when she makes her next request, you almost agree offhand without considering the ramifications. I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own in this big, empty bed, so... I know. The princess's eyes light up like the night sky in a thunderstorm. Why don't you sleep with me? You stare at the princess, your eyes wide as goose eggs. Slowly, you blink. Then, just as slowly, you bid her to repeat herself. And didn't you hear me? The princess giggles. Maybe you've been so busy cleaning up after me, you've neglected to clean out your own ears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me? If that is the question she truly means to ask, then it is easy enough to answer. Of course you would like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. But would it really be all right for you to accept such an invitation? It must be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share a bed with a princess. You sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting, while she observes with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting. Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be? Princess's lower lip begins to tremble. Don't you want to lie with me after all? The sorrow present in Princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly, you console her. You tell her in no uncertain terms that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Why would you? Well then, don't just stand there dilly-dallying, silly. Come and join me. Come. And that is what you do, after returning briefly to your own chamber to change into your nightgown. Once dressed, you waste no time in returning to your impetuous princess's side. She is already lying in her glorious four-poster bed, awaiting your return, as though you were a knight-errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. Why is it always gotta be slaying dragons, though? Can't we just, like, make peace with them? The princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you have made a hash of the buttons, and she bids you come closer. Let me fix that for you, silly. Oh no, you say, I couldn't possibly let you do that. I am but a servant, after all. You are really owning this servant bit. Should not be your job to dress her? Maybe so, the princess says, but I don't mind a bit of role reversal. It makes things more fun. This is... I'm gonna once again keep an eye on the dialogue and figure out whether or not I need to, like, cut this game off. Because this is going in an interesting direction. You try a few more reputations, but in vain. The princess summarily discards all of them. Quiet at the princess's mercy, she might be even more stubborn than you are, you capitulate to her demands. You let the princess unbutton... This, yeah, it's going a little bit of a lewd direction, so I don't want to accidentally get into territory I can't. You let the princess unbutton the front of your nightdress, then rebutton them so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very elegant hands. The princess draws back and pats the mattress beside her. Now, come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these sheets are warm. Coyly, the princess smiles. And so am I. You feel warm yourself as you slide into bed beside the princess. Your face is as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle's grounds. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what an effect she is having on you? Surely she must. How could any woman be so blind? There, the princess exclaims, once your body is lying beside hers. That is much better. You feel cozy now, dear one? You swallow, and with a shaking voice, you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. Quite cozy indeed. Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us here. I know, when I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but... The princess reaches out, then takes your hand in hers. Twining your fingers together like a chain. When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. I'll take very, very good care of you. I promise. That line's a little sus. And line is just a little sus. You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness. Though something about her promise does make you wonder. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic? In a way, Princess replies. After a pause, but you've been taking good care of me already. Now, I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vassals. It's all part of the job description. You were unaware of that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms to sign than, say, becoming a doctor, or an astrophysicist, or a mathematics professor. You tell the princess this sleepily, and she laughs. You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it. Yes, you think, only half-conscious, you think you deserve it too. You've been working hard for a long time, have been running for even longer, but now, at long last, you feel like you can let your fears go. Your eyelids begin to droop, your body beleaguered by a sudden all-consuming fatigue. And in a quiet, understated sort of way, your consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus's kingdom. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. I'm gonna wake up in chains. Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wild cats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to the death. But you do not hear it. Swaddled by the warm blankets around you, and soothed by the princess's pressure. Presence. Pressure? Yes, you are immune from all the ills of the world. When you are with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and... yes, you even feel loved. Oh. It is a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for very long. I knew it! Damn it! God damn, fuck, shit, what? Oh! Damn it! Damn it! Oh! I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen. I still didn't want it to happen, but it happened anyway. Son of a fuck. Yep, we're blood cattle now, or maybe meat cattle, I don't know. You know that something is wrong. Catastrophically so. The moment you open your eyes. Your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you are certain that when you fell asleep, it was in a bed. A nice, warm bed, no less, beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You are not lying in a bed right now, though. You are not, in fact, lying at all. Yep. That's everybody else who's ever worked for her. Son of a fuck. God damn it. You are standing instead against a cold, hard wall made of stone. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimately you can feel its icy chill seeping through the fabric of your nightgown. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You're trembling so much you can feel your teeth chattering together. They sound like castanets. The sound is almost jaunty as it echoes throughout your cell, for that is indeed where you are. The princess's bedchamber wherein you fell asleep is a thing now of the past. We're standing instead, you realize, with a sharp start, in the cell of some great underground dungeon. You swallow, and when you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with anxiety. You feel like you're going to be sick, a feeling which wells up inside you to a staggering degree when you catch notice of the stench. You are not, you realize, the only one in the dungeon. There are others here, others attired in the simple black and white outfits of servants which would look much like the dress that you once wore. The others who are with you, however, in this expansive cell, manacled to the walls, are in no fit state to speak to you, nor tell you of their plights. They are all unfeeling, unseeing, unbreathing. They are all dead. You cannot approach these servants to check their pulses, for you yourself are restrained, but even if you could, there would be no point. There is no way any human could survive the wounds which have been inflicted on these sad, slumped bodies. Over there, you see a woman slumped, the front of her once white apron stained with blackish blood. There is a gaping wound in her stomach, one which her entrails have half escaped, in some sort of burgundy goop which might have once been pale pink. There is another woman slumped beside the first, of a smaller stature. She is skinnier. Maybe she's not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might even be younger. The girl's age, or lack of, did not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon her horrors. Alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with more wheals, and her face has been half smashed in. Only one eye remains, staring fixedly at the wall opposite her, the ruined remains of what was once her skull. Over there, you see a woman who is missing both her arms and her lower jaw. You see another who is missing her entire lower half. Where have her legs gone? You have no idea. The injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You know not how long these carcasses have been lying down here, but they have begun to putrefy. You fear similar fate might befall you should you stay here. You need to escape. Fitfully, you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from these walls. Your restraints are much too strong, and you are much too weak. Panic rises up in your throat, cold and icy, while terror seizes your heart. This, too, is glacial. It is obvious that escape is impossible, but still you squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. There is little point, however, to your struggles. You succeed in nothing as you attempt to free yourself, save for making the steeled manacles dig into your abused wrists more sharply than ever. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you ought to have known that would not work. The very definition of insanity is, you know, performing a set action over and over again, hoping for a different response. In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not so different from insanity. Now that is an interesting point to consider. Would you not agree? No, evidently not. You are still trying to escape, you foolish girl, as if that will do you any good. The clangorous rattling of your steely restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. You are making enough noise to raise the dead down there in your dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish that you would cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Not that you have ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you would listen to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Here she is. Look now, she has come all this way into the dark depths of the castle's cold, inhospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her? Oh, dear one, the princess trills, entering the dungeon with a series of light, lilting steps. It would seem you have finally awoken. How are you? Based on all that infernal racket you've been making, it would seem you have no shortage of energy. Balefully, you turn your head so as to meet the eyes of the princess. She's standing but a few paces away, beneath the roughly hewn stone arch which bids one entry, but rarely ever an exit, to the dungeons. The dungeons are dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favorite red dress. It is so bright and brilliant that for a few moments it hurts you to look at her. Once, the red of the princess's outfit made you think of romance. Now, it makes you think of violence. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That was unfair of me. I did think of waiting here with you by your side until you awoke, but... Once again, the princess giggles, a light, airy giggle which does not at all suit the situation in which you have found yourself. The dungeon is not a fit place, after all, for a princess. It is horribly cold here, and so very drab, and there is nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down from my bed, I suppose, and my blankets, but then they would have gotten dirty, and that would have been a disaster. I need to be more careful. I won't have anybody left to clean up my messes soon. Not when I've dispatched of you. Once again, the princess laughs. Her laughter is light and lilting, like the chiming of a silvery bell, but it does little to alleviate your concern. If anything, it makes you feel even more alarmed. Did you say that she meant to dispatch of you? Yes, that's right. Could you not tell? I thought you might have figured that out already after waking up in a dungeon, silly. Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. Would that you could, you would cringe away from her, but you cannot. You are completely powerless. Well, I remember seeing this screenshot in the Steam store page. The princess reaches out and places a hand upon your cheek. Her skin is very white, and though her touch is cool, it is less so than the frigid air of the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. This is weirdly kinda hot. You wish she would keep holding you. You wish she would keep touching you. You would luxuriate in her kindness as best you can, but though the princess's caresses are tender, your circumstances rather undermine them. How can you relax like this? Ah, you're such a good girl, the princess says, in a cajoling sort of voice as one might address a cat. Is the kind of simping you're familiar with? Oh, Moofy. You've been so lovely to me while we've been together. I really couldn't ask for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled. Why then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable as though it sounds, she must be the one who chained you up. There's nobody else in the castle who could have committed such a feat. Everybody else is dead. Why, yes! How astute of you! I was the one who orchestrated all this, naturally. Naturally, she says, as though her betrayal is a matter of course. Naturally. Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? Why does she mean to do with you? Oh, what I've done to all my other servants. I've experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you. And by take good care of, she means naturally, I'll kill you. Here it is again, that word which seems grossly inappropriate to all, given all of which has transpired. Naturally. There was nothing natural about this. Do you not think so? The princess examines you, her expression ponderous. It's natural to me, even if it isn't natural to other people. This just feels right. Imprisoning her servants in a dungeon and letting them die? Yes, exactly. There's a bit more to it than that, though. Oh, of course there is. I like you, dear one, the princess says, in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious. You have been good to me, like I said, and kind. For that, I will be eternally appreciative. You have been so good to me, in fact, that simply being with you is not enough. Not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I'm a greedy, selfish girl, you see. The princess's smile widens into something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fervor you have never before witnessed. And I don't want to feel you beside me. I want to feel you inside me. Cannibal! Well, of all the things your charming captive could have said, you did not expect that. The princess, perhaps noticing your confusion, begins to giggle. A giggle even lighter than meringue, just as airy. It's just as inoffensive. I can see that you don't understand, dear one, but you aren't the only one. My last lady's maid said that too. Wanly, the princess sighs, a beleaguered woe-is-me sigh which makes her look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses. And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought that you, at least... I fucking get you, Jazzy. Like, she was just so grossly manipulative from the very start. Might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at the world is a bit unique. That's what my nurse always used to say, at least when she still had the breath to speak, of course. You look at the princess, Where else is there to look, really? Your eyes affixed to her face. She is still smiling, but there's something sinister about her smile. Or perhaps, in your anxious state, you are only imagining that there's something sinister about her smile. It is easy to see things which do not really exist in your surroundings when are festooned in shadows. In actuality, however, the princess does not look any different than how she usually does. Neither is she acting any differently than she usually acts. Have a great night, Jazzy. Thanks for being here. I'm probably gonna end in like a couple pages, I think, because I'm feeling bleh. She has not changed. It's only a perspective of her that has changed. Tremulously, you ask the princess what she means, a question the princess is only too happy to answer. It's simple, really. Like I said, you were wondering, weren't you, why there weren't any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here? The question had crossed your mind, yes? You were sure that the princess sent her ministers sent them away, though. Was that a lie? I wasn't being wholly truthful, no. I thought you would be afraid of me if you knew what actually happened, and I didn't want that. I wanted you to stay with me. My ministers didn't send anybody away because I don't have any ministers. I dispatched of them too. Did she now? You suppose you ought not to be surprised, but you still shudder regardless. My ministers weren't very much fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas about what I should and shouldn't do after my parents died. The princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes, empty, yawning abysses. So I killed them. I killed all my servants too, though I did a more thorough job with them than I did my ministers. I did not care for my ministers, you see. They were all fussy old men, but I did love my servants. I loved my ladies' maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large retinue of retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. Does that follow? Not logically, no. Why, you ask the princess, your voice is trembling, would you eat the people that you love? I need water. It seems a poor way to repay them for your kindness. Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there could be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude unless you have any better ideas. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. And I mean, like, I know she has, like, governmental power, but there's no way that, like, she could have gotten away with killing every single one of her servants and guards and not, like, gotten caught or killed in a retaliatory fashion. Anything like that. Kind of sexy, though, that she can be that deadly. Anyway, I'm gonna keep the rest of that to myself. You weren't expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded, you stare at her. You know precious little about love yourself, so it is hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you muster up a few token arguments. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, and neither is it strictly legal. A better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be increased wages or increased holidays. I mean, if she was a vampire, the ability to kill this many people would make sense. The princess listens to your arguments, her expressions astute, like a student poised to take notes in a very important lecture. Once you are finished, however, her concentration fails her. Her shoulders begin to shake, but it is not with remorse for what she has done. Instead, she's laughing. Oh, dear one. That's very funny. But why should I care about the law? I'm a princess. One day I'll be the queen. I am the law. That is a good point. But would eating her people not turn the subjects against her? What subjects? I'm no fool, you know, no matter how I might act, and I know what happens beyond the castle's walls. I know all about the plague. Once, I might have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess in nothing but name only, a monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely. If she feels lonely, then why has she been systematically slaughtering all of her domestics? It doesn't make a lick of sense. Perhaps not to you. Gently, the princess caresses your cheek. But I shouldn't judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you are a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts. Privately, you doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess's thought process, largely because it is unreasonable. You do not say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question you can think to ask, with your weary throat which is sore from shouting. Why? Why, you ask? The princess blinks. It's because I don't want you to leave me, of course. Everybody leaves sooner or later, whether they have pledged their allegiance to me or not. That is simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconstant. Even to me, a monarch. That is why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me. When you think about it, they should really be grateful that I would demean myself so, to consume their flesh and blood. I am a magnanimous ruler, you see, and I treat all of my subjects equally. I love every single one of you, and naturally, I love you too. You have been awfully nice to me, and you are very pretty alongside it. If you were a plain, ugly girl, perhaps I would not shower you with affection quite as intense with this, but you've captured my heart. I think you're lovely. So, I'll bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine. Then we can stay forever and ever.
What if we just kissed her? Like, right now. There's enough, like, space. There's enough clearance. What if we just leaned up and kissed her? Scrape and lick. Oh my god.
The princess leans in. You can feel her soft, silken hair brushing against your cheeks. Can feel too, the warmth of her breath as it ghosts against your skin. It is cold in the dungeon, but the princess's close proximity is, perverse though this might sound, something of a comfort. Her eyes are wide and her lips are so red. Her smile, meanwhile, is so sweet. I've been doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really, the princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are like two dark tarns. Finally, you think you can see, in the alarming lack of light, the lack of anything in the princess's gaze, some degree of humanity. It gets so lonely here. But this brief flicker of understanding which passes between the pair of you is soon cut short. The princess dips her head. She parts her lips, which are as red as the petals of a carnivorous flower. You feel the princess's breath against your neck. It is warm in the icy chill of the dungeons, and you shudder from it. For a few moments, you think that this overture of the princess's could be romantic in a way. But this too comes to a swift, merciless close. Ah! She's eating me alive. The princess's mouth is on your neck. The princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh. The princess is draining your blood. She's supping on it in great, greedy gobbets like a hungry animal, one who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Even as the princess sups from you, her arms twined around your waist, you find you cannot hate her. She is far too unworldly. You are sure, as your consciousness begins to fade, that the princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love for her past servants. This is simply the way the princess expresses this great love of hers, a love which is so very abundant, it borders upon the monstrous. What do you mean, borders? It is a love you never thought you would ever experience. This love of the princess eclipses anything you have ever known before. It eclipses sanity. It eclipses reason. It eclipses all notions you once have had of right or wrong. The princess, as you know full well, does not care about such concepts. You have always possessed a stubborn core, nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior, but the princess is even stubborner than you are. In the face of her love, you have met your match. The princess draws back desperately. You gasp for air, but she does not give you any quarter. As before, she dips her head, her lips redder still with your blood, then splits apart her jaw. Her teeth, which are impossibly, inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly like knives. Then she tears out your throat. The front of your nightgown was white once. Now it is red. There is so much blood you can smell it when you inhale, sharper than metal. It is so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You try to inhale, but this task proves to be beyond you. What with the twin perforations that have ruptured your skin? Your attempted breaths, when they escape your lips, sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Your whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it is on fire. You make for quite the sorry sight indeed. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. In my defense, I made one choice. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace, or will you try to fight against it? Oh. Damn. I wasn't expecting to actually get the choice there. I don't actually know what I want to do. I think I might leave it here. I don't know. I might... This is one hell of a cliffhanger, but I might leave it here. Cause I don't know. There's something twistedly romantic about being eaten, but also this is not how you fucking love somebody. It's just not. But also, we're kind of helpless. So, like, what fighting is there? Also, she ripped my fucking throat out, so I'm already gonna die. Is there anything yeah, Immortal, we already been over this. Going back in time? That's a compelling possibility. Yeah, I feel like fighting against our fate does probably give us more options than not. Take her. Oh, taking her. Yes, killing her and taking her with me. That is very romantic. Let's do it. Fight against the fate. That is a good answer. I must admit, I like it. It is impressive how very defiant you can be, even in a situation as discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story. She ripped my throat out. What do you mean it's a minor setback? Like all fair maidens, you are deserving of your own happy ending. You need only the strength to try and seek it out. Why don't we give this another go? Try not to ensnare the hearts of any more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. You are destined for far higher purposes than that of being an entree, and there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world. Hey! This is the first time the narrator is actually kind of like kind to the protagonist instead of just being fucking spiteful. But yeah, we know what the narrator's talking about here. Your fate is, once again, in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? Wow. What? Oh. So that was the entire castle route. That's crazy. And now we have 2 more routes to do, which means we're actually going to get a fair amount of time with this game. That makes me happy. But, in any case... Whoop. Oh. Why am I crying? Yeah... I don't know if we are going to get a happy ending. Man, I had to redo my playlist. Now everything's weird. Sure, one might be on the shorter side. How do you already know these things, Artisan? Immortal. You. Either way, we might be able to do that in one stream. We might have to do more than one. Not sure. But I think it'll be fun either way. I'm glad you really enjoyed the stream. Floofy Moofy. And I hope everybody else... I hope everybody else really enjoyed it too. I am tired, mostly in the brain, so I really want to go relax. And also, still feeling sick, feeling a little worse. So, I'm gonna go ahead and take it easy. But hey, please, guys, wait. Actually, okay, before I do the sign-off, I want to see if there's anybody to raid. Because we can do that. We can raid. We can raid somebody. Ah! Hang on, how... Lou is streaming. He's been streaming for 5 hours. Do we want to raid Lou? I don't know. She looks like she's, like, zoning out. I don't know. Let me see here. Oops. Okay. The combat feels robbery? Huh. I did hear that the melee combat kind of leaves something to be desired. So I don't know, maybe it really isn't all it's cracked out to be. Alright, screw it. We're gonna raid Lou. So, as I was saying, please be well to yourself and others until I see you guys next, and I eagerly await you guys all in the next one. Have a great night now, and be good to Lou. Ciao, ciao.